Well, guys, happy 2026. I hope you all had great holidays between New Year's and Christmas, or whatever you celebrate. If nothing else, you just had some nice downtime. Um, oh, only 43 degrees in Michigan. Um, but if nothing else, hope you found some time to nice shut down and have fun with your projects or your vintage radios, all the other hubbub of all the other life's demands. Um, At any rate, in terms of announcements, well, as this is the start of the year, things are slowly kicking off, but I can make a few announcements for what it's worth. Um, we did a couple since our first meeting happens after our first two events. There were a couple of Music Expo's vinyl record show between one in Wallingford, Connecticut, and one in Dedham this past weekend, but it's sort of a little bit academic here. But I don't know if anyone was able to make it, but I've yet to go, and I'd like to make one of these days. And my niece has certain records she would like to have her hands on, so one of these days I'll get over there. But the going forward, our first event is the Whitman Amateur Radio Club Winterfest in Whitman, Massachusetts, will be held on Saturday the 17th. So if you're aching to go out and see you can find some good ham gear or whatever else it may have, go no further than Whitman, Massachusetts, and you'll probably find Ross Hofstrasser there. So by all means, do make it. Otherwise, there's not much going on until February, which I'll have plenty of time to update. As I mentioned on the email, I am still updating the calendar. I put in whatever I could based on whatever organizations posted their 2026 calendar of events, but some haven't done it yet. So I will make a sweep this weekend. Isaiah, I will add your events that I don't already have in the calendar, hopefully this weekend at some point. And I'll try to do the other sweep for any TBDs I can fill in. But guys, that hopefully will be, if you come aware of anything that is on the calendar, do shoot me a line and I will happily add it so we continue to raise awareness. Otherwise, are there any announcements any of you gentlemen wish to make that I didn't already cover? Okay, that's fine. It's January, so I don't really expect a lot, but you never know. So, at any rate, well, hey, let's have a round robin. Let's see what you guys were up to the past 3 weeks because our last meeting was just before Christmas. We had of course, our winter meeting, and Santa was certainly there as always. Thank you, Santa, for popping in, and um, and of course, we enjoyed the reoming classic video that we watch every Christmas time. But anyway, so I'm just going to sort of kick things off, and I will. You know what, Paul? I'm not going to put you on the spot as batting leadoff. I'll give you a little moment. So I'm just going to randomly pick somebody and say, "Hey, Rob, how you doing there in Arizona? I guess snow coming your way in
Yeah, yeah, we're doing
Prescott.
okay. We're doing okay. Yeah, I did put something together.
Great.
Um,
Oh,
well,
let me turn on share privileges. I am
okay.
neglecting my duty. I was running a little late. I apologize for trying to meeting about 5 minutes late, but I had a personal matter come up that needed my attention. Um, and okay, now you're good to go if you wish to share your screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, okay. You're seeing a picture of some trees and an
Yeah,
antenna?
sure can.
Yeah, here was the situation. I have a ham antenna, a butternut, which is a trapped vertical. And whenever I'm working on an AM radio, I would just try to connect to it. And yeah, it's the wrong antenna at all for AM bands because it's trapped. Even it around 80 meters, there's a very thin slice of frequencies that it actually responds to. So it started out saying, I'm going to put a wire outside. And of course, can't leave well enough alone and get spec creep. And
Huh?
since it's horizontally polarized, I should look into it for ham bands also. In any event, this was the start of it. I had planned on cutting the PVC pipe off, but I figured I'd have this up and down so many times tuning it, but haven't gotten there. So that's one. Oh, this is weird. There we go. Okay, so that's one side of it. And there's the other side attached to the post for or the pole for my 2 meter antenna.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and the whole idea of this thing was to have something that I could hook onto an AM radio to get some decent reception when I'm, messing around with it. I just been taking a wire and throwing it over the bookcase and that kind of stuff. Um, so
Oh, okay.
interesting. Yeah, I had the egg insulators, I had the cables, and of course the pole was already there. But I did want an un-un. It could be a balun, but it's an un-un because this is unbalanced and so is the coax. So I found this device on Amazon, and I bought it not for what it specifically would do, but for what parts came with it. Look at this. For I think it was $23 or something. Weatherproof case, the
Hmm.
wing nuts, the SO239, uh, heat shrink tubing, the wire. You couldn't buy these parts individually for that kind of a price.
Yeah, the sum of the parts is worth greater than the whole.
Oh yeah, yeah. At first I tried experimenting with it, but I ended up just with their design for a long wire antenna. It isn't ideal because their claim here says it's going to roll off below 2 megahertz. So I have some work to do to figure out a better uh, on. Um, but I got all the parts, right? I might have to
Hmm.
buy another ferrite and maybe some different wire, but got all the parts. And the thing is up and working.
Okay.
And to feed it, this is inside my shed. I had this MFJ antenna switch. This is the antenna coming in from the ham shack, and there's a relay in here. They put DC over the coax, so I can flip between the butternut and the horizontal wire. And these are just some surge suppressors and that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And here's the ham shack side of it. It's an MFJ something or other. I got it at a ham sale. And it works great too. You can switch to antenna 2 or antenna 1 right from the ham shack.
Nice. Nicely
Yeah,
labeled.
yeah, I have to because I'll forget. I'll forget all of
No,
it.
it's a good idea. It's a really good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah. This one just loops around into the first switch. Um, let's see. Yeah, and I originally had this butternut HFE. This one just comes around and goes into here. So my ham gear can go to the antenna or to the dummy load. And from this, the butternut antenna, well, which is now this dual thing, can either switch to the radio down here or other, and that runs over to the bench. So when I'm working on radios now, I can, hook up a decent antenna to the AM radios. And this is what Santa brought me. So happy. Scope probes, which I desperately needed. Wore out my old drill, so got another one of those. And this is a transfer pump for a food grade transfer pump for when I'm brewing beer. I can move it around and not have to lift very heavy containers and hurt my back. And this is a lid for my fermenter where I'm pumping ethylene glycol from a freezer through these coils. I can bring the temperature of the wort down. Like I've had it down to 35 degrees. That's probably cold enough. So
Yeah, little icebergs are forming.
yeah, yeah. And I haven't brewed with it yet, but I've got it all set up. Yeah, I wanted the pump because my back was just killing me. You take 5.5 gallons of liquid in a metal container, drum like, and you got to lift it straight up and bring it over to a table so it can
Yep.
gravity feed to fill bottles and stuff like that. So this way I can go from my brewing or Brewzilla. I don't know if anybody knows about that, but I can pump from the Brewzilla to the fermenter, and when it's fermented, I can pump from that to the bottling bucket. I and then I also made some fittings so I can put soap solution and sanitizer through the whole system. So there's
Wow.
that's what Santa gave me. I'm very
Wow.
happy.
Santa
Yeah,
really covered you in all your
yeah,
almost every
I
way.
know. All kinds of toys. I couldn't believe the scope probes. I've been using these junky ones for so long. I put those on the scope and I went, oh yeah, that's how it's supposed to work.
So did you go to the mall and sit on Santa's lap and give him that list?
No, 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 just about. Yeah, my old probes, if you bent them one way, they quit. So you had to keep bending them a bit to get a signal. Well, anyways, that's it.
Wow, well done.
I
Well
know.
done. You were very, very productive these past few weeks.
Yeah, well, got to keep moving.
Yeah, I'd say, hey, that's awesome. No, nicely done,
Alrighty.
Rob. And
What do I have to do here? Anything?
oh, I can, I can stop your sharing for you. There
Oh,
you go.
okay, there we go. Yeah,
Not a
that's
problem. Thank you, Rob. That's pretty cool. Good stuff.
all right.
Well, let's see here. Since he's the furthest one away, I'm gonna give Pear a shout out. Pear, Thailand. I'm impressed. Another remote attendee taking the baton from Carl when he was in New Zealand.
Well, about all I was able to do at home before leaving was charge up all my car batteries so that when I get back in February, um, I'll be away until the first week of February. Then I won't be confronted with cracked batteries due to them becoming discharged and freezing. And other than that, uh, I don't have any projects to report.
That's okay. So no no Packards or Hudsons to be found in Thailand.
Well, I will say this. Friends took me to a small museum filled with British cars. So I was able to see some really old Land Rovers there and several nice MGs, the oldest one going back to being a TC, and
Sure.
also a Morgan, a
Oh, sure.
three-wheel car with a two-cylinder engine.
Oh, sure. The Mogs.
So, so that was my only adventure um, with old cars here. And well, I guess like uh, just about everywhere, one doesn't see old cars driving down the street very much. You know, they hide out here and there, and one has to know how to find them. And I don't know how to find very many of them around here. So that's about it.
All right. Well, Pear is great. Glad to have you on and glad you're enjoying your time in Thailand. Um, I will say good morning to you because it's tomorrow with you.
Yes, that's right.
So, but
And I'm sure I will tune in again for the next meeting, and I will be in a different part of Thailand then. So who knows?
uh,
Maybe I'll have a little something to report.
all right. Well, you're basically you be a roving Thai reporter. But well, thank you, Pear. Glad to have you. But
Thank you.
so let's see here. Hey, John, since you haven't been on in a while, I'll get a chance to say what's going on in your neck of the woods in Long Island.
Well, everything is okay up here, or down here rather. Um, we have we do have actually have we have an actual Long Island Radio Club. It's been around for like 40 years, and we meet the first Sunday of the month outdoors at one of the Long Island Railroad train station parking lots. And we even met this past Sunday, and when I was in the high 20s, and it lasted about an hour. It was just too cold because we're all old now. 25,
Oh,
30 years ago, we could stay there. But anyway, I've been, for last year or so, I've been trying to get rid of stuff. Because, like, what do they say? The 11th commandment is thou shalt accumulate. And I don't, I'm sure some of you might have the accumulation issue. And I have stuff in the attic, the basement, garage, and I find stuff like I did the other day that I want to just get rid of, and but I found an interesting thing, and I'll show you some pictures of it.
Oh, great.
It's again, I guess vintage. Let me see here. Share. Okay, just give it a second to warm up here.
No problem. Take your time.
You should see it now.
Okay. Yep.
All right, this is in my basement behind under a bunch of other junk. It needs to be cleaned up, but this looks interesting. You see a speaker here. It's portable somehow. I got some other photos of it. Hold on. Here's a close up. This was a preamp amp made by Fairchild,
Hmm.
and I'll get a close. And oh, that's where the AC would go. And this is part of a portable recording system.
Ah.
Let me go a little closer here to the badge on it. It says Fairchild Aerial Camera Corporation, but it's a preamp amp. It's probably made in the 40s. They made these in the 40s and 50s, and someone would take these with them if they're recording, I guess, some kind of outdoor event, and have it hooked up to a record cutter. And believe it or not, that's what it was. And I can show you the back of it here. We got a 10-inch Jensen speaker, and this is an 8-tube amplifier. Uses 6B5 output tubes. There's a rectifier tube, and I think that's a 6H6 there. And over here are four 6C6s, and this is the amplifier. And I tried to find out about a Jensen C10X speaker, and I can't find any information on it. I found C10 Qs and Rs on eBay, but people do pay a lot of money for these old Jensen speakers. And this is a close-up of the amp, bunch of transformers. Yes, it's filthy, it's dirty, but what I found is people have been buying this amp section here. The guitar amp people, the guitar players,
Oh.
that's what they're doing with this now when they find one. And I've seen some, not on eBay, but other places go for a lot of money just for this amp thing. But that speaker up here, that Jensen, is worth some money. But
Hmm.
anyway, it's messy looking. But it's just an interesting thing I forgot I even had. And I'm missing the back and the front part. There's some clips here where the front would cover and the back cover, they would do hook on. But wherever I got this from years ago, it just wasn't there. Anyway, that's my odd thing I found today, my show and tell. And that's it.
Well, that's cool. Woodside, New
Interesting.
York. I
Yes.
found that's interesting. That's where my grandparents, my parents, my father's side were from. I've been
Yeah.
in Woodside many times.
Yeah. I
Uh,
Yeah, my train I take to the Long Island to Manhattan, the Long Island Railroad goes through. It has the stop at Woodside.
yeah, the elevator train.
Yes, well, you have the
Oh,
number, what they call the number 7.
exactly.
Used to be, I think, the IRT train or BMT or something. But no, that's a big time station there because the Long Island Railroad stops there, and the number 7 train, the New York City subway,
Yeah.
stops there.
Yeah. But where we used to live, in fact, my aunt only sold this family home back in 20, think that was a 2009, 2010. Um, yeah, it was about a block, about 2 blocks away. You could hear the elevated train very easily. Of course, you can hear it just about anywhere in Woodside, but yeah, sure. I have a lot of fond memories. I've been there many a times as a kid and as an adult. I kind of miss going, quite honestly.
Yeah, that area has changed quite a bit. All of Queens, which is Queens, the borough of Queens that we're talking about, is I guess every stop on that number 7 train that goes through that area is basically a different community of immigrants. it used to be a lot of Irish,
Mm, indeed.
but now it's basically every 5 blocks it could be Dominican from or next Puerto Rican or Indian,
Yep.
or each stop is a different community, and it's a very diverse area. A lot of people go there just for the different restaurants to
Hmm.
try them out because for all the different ethnic food, and but it's an interesting area. Has always been changing there. Um,
Hmm.
but no, it's um, and there are some not there are nice houses there. There's a lot of community there because you have families there.
Right.
It's not an area where you hear about crime, really.
Hmm.
It's also I believe there used to be what they call maybe the Irish mafia, and
Hmm.
there's still a presence of that in that area. But it's a decent area.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my grandfather bought the house brand new in 1925. So we own, one, two floor house, fully, kitchens on both floors and so forth. So it was quite the and of course I'm Irish, funny enough, on my grandfather father's side and Scottish. So it matches, back in the when it was settled, and of course a lot has changed, but still a neat area.
No, it is. It's anyway. Let me disconnect here.
Oh, sure. Or I can do it for you if you wish. So there you
No,
go.
I
Perfect.
got it. There we go. But anyway, it's amazing. You see, there's a lot of industry in the electronics field in Queens. You mentioned, well, this company was there over not too far away, a few miles away, and I guess it was Long Island City or Astoria, was Fisher Radio.
Oh,
Of all
sure.
Fisher stereo equipment was made there in Queens,
Oh, sure. And
and
all the imports of all the German radios came in through Long Island City, through there, whether it's, Elite or Olympic, all of those guys were all located right at the ports there. So bring them on in, sell
yeah,
them there.
yeah, no, there was a lot of that. I mean, there was electronic distributors there in Queens. There was, oh, well, I think the Blaupunk or Telefunken had their U.S. base there.
That was Telefunken for sure with American Elite. Yep.
Yeah.
And Fada was located right in, I think, the Woodside area or Elmhurst, I think, which is right adjacent nearby. And also Richmond Hills had the Grebe,
Oh, Greeby was in
Grebe.
Richmond Hill. Yeah,
Yeah. So Long Island, Queens actually has a lot of, radio history there.
no,
Um,
yeah, a lot of the battery sets from the 19 teens and 1920s. There was in the New York City area, there were 100 battery set companies in the 1920s and the teens, and Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, or I'm sorry, the Bronx, and even in Manhattan, of course, because there was
sure.
manufacturing then. But no, Queens had a huge amount of manufacturing. Um, anyway,
All right. But
back
no.
to net.
All right. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate it. Enjoyed the presentation of a very unique piece of equipment. Um, cool stuff. But hey, Greg, how is it out there in Wisconsin there? Did
Pretty
Santa
good.
drop off a bunch of old radios for you to restore?
Well, yeah, I got not so much to restore, but I did get a couple from my own collection.
Nice. And I
Let
bet.
me see if I can share the screen. I'll show you.
All right.
Let's see.
Definitely want to see.
Definitely want to see. Okay. Let's see. How about that?
Whoa. Wow, look at that. Look at the condition.
That's
Oh
really a
boy.
neat little radio. It's from 1951, and it uses the same cabinet that the Charlie McCarthy radio used in 1938.
Interesting. Well, that
Wow.
looks brand new. I mean, look at the airline. There's not a nick on this thing.
It's a it's an actual plastic cabinet where the Charlie McCarthy was more of a Bakelite.
Wow. And how did you
Oh.
get one in this? I mean, it looks like it was like stuck in a closet, never saw the light of day.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to ask Santa that one. I don't know.
Oh, well, Santa done well. I wonder
Let's
if he
see.
reowned it.
Actually, I had to recap it. It's all original. But
Wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that is
there's some more here. Let me see if I can.
yeah, no, by all means.
Well, here's one under natural light. Yeah.
Still, wow.
Flash without the flash.
I've never seen a nicer one. Sure,
Yeah,
except in an ad maybe of that period.
yeah.
I mean, look at it.
Pretty,
This
pretty tickled when I opened that package.
oh yeah, that's great. Now, does it work as well as it looks?
Yeah, surprisingly it does. I mean, this was a five tuber, I believe.
Always a
Four.
five.
Yeah, it works good though. Has a long wire antenna.
Mm-hmm. I'm just remarkable. I don't see everything. All the paint's in such great shape.
Yeah, it wasn't repainted, that's for sure.
No, if they did, that's someone's got very good,
They're
very
good
steady
hand.
hands.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Okay, here's the other one I got. Let's see here. Photos.
Oh,
Kohler radio. That's from 1949. That's an original one.
that's beautiful. Wow. That's in great condition.
And that's got the original paint too, because I never could have recreated that white just as good as it was from the factory.
Yeah, no, that's in terrific condition too. Wow. Now there's a nice big cabinet. I assume is that a five tuber?
It's a five tuber, yeah. It's actually pretty big sized radio, surprisingly. But
Okay.
there's one thing I had to do to it that kept me busy for a while. I'll show you that quick. I had to restring the dial without a diagram.
Oh,
That's the chassis.
all
So you can see
right.
it had the pulley right in the center, and then I had those two little pulleys on each side of the dial for the dial pointer, and then I had to go all the way over to that tuning knob. And there was a lot of guessing and trial and error till I found it, got it just right.
Wow. Well done without a diagram. And very impressive. A tip of the hat to you.
Yeah, it was actually the needle was broken, and I couldn't get it soldered back together. So luckily, I had one similar to that, was able to make it work.
Oh, is
But
this
that was
previously restored or did
the chassis
electronically?
wasn't. Yeah, nothing was done to it. Just
Wow.
oh, it was, oh, it must have been a shelf queen all these years.
Wow. Same for the Lone Ranger radio, I take it.
Even for the Lone Ranger. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
So that's my story.
That's pretty
Never
impressive.
seen a stringing like that with the spring that curled around the center shaft. Usually, there's
Well, the problem with that, Noah, is I didn't have enough tension, so I had to go around the center like that to give it a
oh,
little more.
okay. All
So
right.
once I had it, I wasn't going to take it all apart again.
Nobody will ever know once it's inside
You'll
the
never
cab.
know. It works. That's all that matters.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. A little artistic license is okay, especially when you don't have a diagram in front,
Yeah.
that's okay. I think most people purists would be impressed. So, well done.
Good.
But
Thank you.
well, that's cool. So let's see here. Well, let's see. Since we were just last talking with him, Noah, how's it going down there in Texas? We know it's warm.
It's just been spectacular. It's this the whole year. The summertime was cooler than the last two summers, and fall and winter, well, there really hasn't been winter yet. It's still fall as far as I can tell. It's been amazing. I'm sure it'll get here eventually, but we're making the most of it, which means I'm doing many, many outdoor things and more car related things than radio related things because I'm waiting for the weather that drives me inside to the workbench, but it just hasn't come yet. So I'm sure it'll be here pretty soon. But so we went up to something called the Stockyards. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, up in the Fort
Fort
Worth
Worth?
area.
Oh, sure. I've been there.
Amazing the way they have the place all decked out at Christmas time for the holidays and all that. So seeing all the lights and seeing the little mini cattle drive and going through the shops. And there did happen to be a record store up there. So I was able to go in there and get a copy of an album from a group called JoJo Gunn, which was
Joe
kind
guy.
of a takeoff of Spirit. Many of the same members of the group Spirit. So when I found that album up there, I said, "Oh, I've got a small collection of Spirit records and Randy California and Captain Copter and the Fabulous Twirly Birds." And so JoJo Gunn kind of fits right into that same little genre. So I bought myself that record. And then the other thing that I did, which this could be a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. It's a preservation thing, but on the other hand, I think at one of our earlier calls, I showed this child's first Christmas record.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
I had this, on Columbia, of course. Whoop,
Oh, yeah.
you know, since I was about 5, and from the same series, there's a Chrysler's, a child's first Easter
Oh, okay.
record. And so I had not really repaired, but we'll just say I tweaked on one of my extra turntables and set that up with the CD burner separate from my regular stereo, a smaller stereo that was like in a spare bedroom in the house, so that I could make a little CD burning station, and took 2 of my old childhood records that were still in amazingly good shape. Not very many ticks or pops or scratches in them, considering that they're 65 or so years old.
Yeah.
But I burned them onto CDs. So, I'm torn. One of the things I like to do at Christmas is bring out a bunch of my 78s and some of my old LPs and put them on an old console, or put them on the Admiral, put them on the Magnavox, put them on the Grundig, and listen to vinyl music from 40s, 50s, 60s on my antique equipment. And it's a good way to exercise that equipment too, especially the mechanical parts of the turntables.
Sure.
But now that I have them on CD, I hope I don't just default to putting the CD in a CD player that's hooked up to my FM transmitter, so that I can listen to them on the old equipment without having to cause any further wear on the records. But if I do that, that's not so good for the record players and phonographs, because they need their exercise. So I haven't quite sorted that out yet, but that was sort of my project in between the way too much eating and imbibing that occurred over the past 3 weeks or so. So I'm on the call today. I don't see anybody else with a glass of anything on the call. Maybe everybody's trying to dry out a little bit. Oh, you got
There
one.
we go. Well done,
Yes.
Hugh.
I've got my sugar-free Chobani yogurt, because I'm trying to reel it back in a bit, because things are kind of crazy there with all the sweets and sugars and meats and potatoes and Polish
Cookies.
food and whiskey and everything else that happened over that time.
Ah, yes, the old carbs and sugars and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it builds up.
And then a fair amount of time I treated my car, my convertible, earlier in the fall. I gave it the new exhaust system. And again, in anticipation of the winter that never, or so far hasn't come, I put the top up and put it in the garage, and then took the radiator out, because I found one of those radiator shops. Like, if you needed help with a restoration of a radio, you would really be thrilled if you found an old looking radio store that was, had a bunch of old stuff and old boxes of tubes and things. Well, I found a place 2 towns away where the old stenciling is still on the plate glass window of the radiator shop that says established 1958. It's like,
Just
some
in
people,
time.
You know, some people who have worked in there have passed years ago because of, who knows, some ill effects of all the chemicals that are in it. It's like kind of nasty
The
looking.
skull and crossbones stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like that's where I want to take my radiator. So I gave it to them, and I just said, I wasn't seeing anything on the ground or anything, but if you've ever looked at an old radiator and there's like a little part of it that maybe it's not black anymore, it has sort of that bluish green color on it, maybe from some copper or something. It's like a color that shouldn't be there, but like it's not wet and it's not leaking and the car's not overheating, but it's a 65-year-old radiator. So I said, you know what? Winter's coming. I'll take that out, drop it off at the place. I said, just check it, pressure test it, flow test it, put it in your tank of chemicals, and hopefully something will come out when you put it in there. You won't dissolve the thing on me. And
Right.
and so they did all that. They cleaned it all out and they pressure checked it, for leaks and anything, kept it under pressure for a couple, 3 days, and no ill effects or anything. So they took it out and painted it for me and had it looking all nice and pretty when I went to pick it up, and said, well, no, we didn't really have to repair anything. We just gave it a good cleaning and a testing and a painting. And I said, okay, so what's the charge? And the guy says, $34.81.
Wow.
And I said, $34.81. Okay. All right. That sounds good to me. So I reached into my wallet and I took out two 20s to hand to him. And he said, oh, you're paying cash. So it's only $30 if you're paying cash. So he took my two 20s and he gave me a 10. And it's like $30 for like basically a rehabbing. Now they didn't have to do any soldering or welding or anything like that.
Oh.
But still, I got this thing
That's
that
a great deal.
yeah, it's just nuts. 1958. I think they've kind of forgotten to up
Yeah, that's the
the
prices.
pricing
Yeah, I'll give you.
along the way. So that was a Christmas present,
Yeah.
of itself. So then I had to put that all back in and put that together. So I haven't done a lot of electronic things other than burn a few CDs of some old music, and rest of the time has been more still doing yard work. And I mean, I still have to mow the lawn. I mean, things are still growing. We have roses, we have flowers, and it's January. It's just
Gotta
crazy.
be rough.
Well, it seems like, if you look at the last past few weeks, the most of the country is starting to warm up, but all the cold weather sinks right into the New England area, or say Mid-Atlantic and New England area. And it seems like everybody else is getting warmer. We're freezing,
Yep.
so it's like, oh man, this is ridiculous.
We'll
But
try to push some up your way from here.
yeah, let's finally, I guess enough push and you finally, cause the air to change. We are going to get some warm up,
January thaw, right? Isn't that supposed to be happening in the next week or two? It usually
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, it's just, we started out with certainly went out with into winter with like a lion here, at
Yeah.
least for December. But we haven't had a
Oh,
lot of snow. It's just
speaking
cold.
speaking of that, I haven't I should have mentioned it maybe when you were asking about announcements, even
Hmm,
though
that's all
I
right.
won't I
And
won't be able to attend from a distance, but there are two big things that happen in January at the Big E in Springfield.
okay.
And one of them is sort of like the oasis in the winter desert that we always used to look forward to, the car guys. Second or third weekend in January is like an indoor automotive swap meet type thing in one of the big
Oh.
buildings at the Big E. So there's car related stuff, but sometimes it's a mishmash of all kinds of different things. There's tools, there's some electronics and things like that. And then I think the following week is much, much bigger, like across 5 or 6 buildings of the Big E. Takes a full day to go through the train and toy show.
Oh, wow.
So that's vintage electronics, for
Yeah.
electrical toys and trains and
Yeah.
things like that. And that's a great take to get you through the winter. It's a nice indoor thing. The buildings are heated. You might be a little cold outside waiting to pay your $10 or whatever it is to get in. But then after that, you could have a great time. And if you're from the anywhere east of Springfield, an exit or two, I can't remember the name of the town, but there's a really cool restaurant that's just a few exits on the Mass Pike to the east of Springfield. And there's a big train station restaurant called Steaming Tenders.
Steaming Tenders. I love
Steaming
the name.
Tenders. And it's all railroad motif. There's still active tracks right alongside of it. And it's got like the luggage carts and it's a antique train station kind of thing that's also a restaurant. And you're sitting in, it's almost like the mini version of a Grand Central Station, in the middle of the station where they have all the tables and pretty decent food too. So if you can go to a toy show or a train show and then stop at Steaming Tenders and have a nice lunch or dinner or something on the way back, I highly recommend it. It's one of the few things I miss about January in New England. I
Wow.
won't be able to attend those.
I was blissfully unaware of both, but now it was unaware until now about Steaming Tenders.
Steaming Tenders. It's a
I
great,
love the
from
name.
your house, you could just go to Steaming Tenders. You don't even have to go all the way to Springfield.
Yeah, no, that actually would be achievable. Jeez, I would remember that one because who doesn't like the little train motif, you know,
Exactly.
you know. But cool. Wow, good stuff there, Noah.
All right.
Good
And
stuff. Sorry?
Noah, I'm sorry, I didn't know if you were finished.
No, no,
Oh,
go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm done.
I heard you mention a group called Spirit,
Yes.
which I always liked them.
I
And
saw you
no,
nodding your head and smiling. And, the
yeah,
classic is the 12 Dreams of Dr.
yeah,
Sardonicus, of course.
yes. And when I talk to other people about Spirit, they look at me like I'm nuts. But that had the father and son in it, didn't they?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
For a
Randy.
bit.
Was it Randy and his son,
Yep.
or
Yep.
yeah, that was. You don't normally hear about rock groups that had a father son
Right. Sometimes
combination.
brothers, but not usually fathers and
Yeah.
sons.
But anyway, it was great just hearing another
Yep.
person even
Fresh
mention that.
Garbage and Groundhog Day and the whole bunch of great stuff by that
Yeah.
group.
But no, they were part of that, I guess, the California sound, I think
Yeah.
they called it back then. And but anyway, all right, that's all I want to say.
Okay.
It was good hearing it.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
the one big hit from JoJo Gunn was called Run Run Run. It was that was one of the best track on the album, a medley of their greatest hit, shall we say.
Their greatest hit.
Yeah, but there are other good songs on there as well.
But no,
Yeah,
just
that's a good name. JoJo
Played
Gunn.
played on the right vintage equipment.
yeah.
I'm still listening to the stereo that I essentially built and acquired when I was in college in the 70s. So I designed and built my own speakers, and it's bi-amplified with tube amplifiers for the mid-range and the tweeters, and solid state for better damping factor to control the woofers on the low end. And so you kind of geek out when you're a double E in school and have access to test equipment that you wouldn't have at home.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with old equipment. I think a lot of us find there's nothing wrong with old equipment. But anyway, that's all I want to say.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, well, thank you, Noah. That was great. Let's see here. Well, you know what? I'm gonna pick on Paul because Paul is a new attendee. He's his this is his first Zoom meeting, so certainly want to welcome formally and glad that you're able to join, but give you an opportunity to have the floor and talk about whatever you'd like to talk about, whether it's, vintage electronics or whatever, Where are you located, by the way?
Well, yeah, thanks, John. I am located in Maine. I'm in South Portland.
Oh, okay. Got
So
another
yeah,
Maine. Got a small
yeah,
contingent.
yeah. And as you said earlier, it's been absolutely freezing up until today. I think it actually reached freezing today for the first time in a couple of weeks.
Ooh.
So it's been a miserable start to the winter this year, which is different than the past few years, which there actually have been people I've seen around here in the last few years that have been able to actually mow a lawn around Christmas time because it's been warm here and got any snow,
Mm.
but not the case this year. I think I saw a video the other day of someone riding an electric bike on the Charles in Boston
Mm.
because it's frozen over.
That'd be fun.
And I mean, that seems a little risky. I wouldn't try
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
that's just how cold it's been.
Yeah, once upon a time, all the trash in the Charles, it wouldn't be able to freeze. There'd be so much toxic whatever
You could
in
ride over the trash.
it. All that dirty water, you know.
So yeah, I actually joined Nevik last spring, I think, and then kind of I guess I forgot about it a little bit, to be perfectly honest. And at the beginning of the year, I got a little renewal reminder email that said, "Hey," and I didn't even notice that the renewals were year based and not, that they would start at the beginning of the year. So I was like, "Oh." So then I logged back in and checked all my stuff, and I was like, "Oh, you guys are having a meeting today?" Well, I've been meaning to pop in, and I actually had time tonight, so I said, "Oh, I'm going to do it." So I love vintage and retro stuff. I'm not quite the radio guy that all of you are. I did dig through my stuff. I found a radio.
Hey,
This is the radio I have. It's
no, let
a
me spotlight that.
realistic transistor radio.
Oh,
Uh,
sure.
I use this regularly to listen to Red Sox games in the summer outside. It's one of my favorite hobbies, and the TV announcers can be really annoying. So I just love putting the baseball games on the radio, and this was my radio from like the early '80s, and I've kept it. But as far as other radio type gear, I don't really have anything like that. I'm more of on the electronic side. I'm more of a vintage retro computer kind of person. So
Oh,
speaking
okay.
of, I've got like another Radio Shack thing
Oh, let's
here.
see that up close. Love it.
This is
Oh,
a
sure.
little handheld calculator computer. It's got BASIC built into it.
Yeah, I remember walking around the Radio Shack stores back in the day. This, the 80s, looking at it, saying, "Oh, that's pretty cool." This little LCD
Still using
display.
my 15C.
Getting a
Oh,
little bigger. I got this one here. So focus isn't coming. This is a Tandy Model 100.
Oh,
Battery
Wow.
died in this one though. This is pretty cool. It's got a real keyboard on it,
yeah.
so
But
you can actually type stuff. And what I kind of like doing is figuring out how to get some of this old gear to work with more modern things. So like, this particular thing would be really cool because it's super portable to write with. And
hmm.
I write a newsletter, and I got a website, and I write about all my gear and stuff. So it'd be kind of cool to sit outside in the summer, not now, with that and maybe write an article or something. But then how do I get it into a real computer so I can publish it to the internet? And I haven't yet figured out how to do that with this yet. But there are
Oh, just
things.
just Bluetooth it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, it has a serial port, and I
well,
could
there you
wire up
go.
something maybe through, probably not through Bluetooth, but get it through USB into
Yeah.
a computer. And, but soldering isn't my forte yet. I need to find a small project to start practicing soldering. I did get a soldering iron to do that with. Behind me, you can see is my favorite retro computer. This is an Atari ST.
Oh,
Technically a Mega STE. It's one of their last models from like 1992, I think. And that's in my office. This is my work computer in front of me, and that's my uh, the monitors used with the Atari and also a Windows laptop. So when I have to work on Windows, which I generally don't like, 'cause I'm a Mac guy, I can pretend I'm using my Atari because it's what I see in front of me. I got several Ataris. I got a Commodore computer as well.
oh, sure.
And like I said, I collect some of these things. I've kind of capped. I think John was maybe mentioning earlier, stopping to accumulate too much stuff. And I definitely reached that point. My wife informed me I reached that point. Is just too many things. Where do you put it all? And I hate to have stuff that's just sitting on a shelf not getting used, right? So I'm trying to keep stuff that I actually am going to use rather than be like, oh my God, I need to have that
Right.
and just buy it and then stick it somewhere and never touch it. So I've been trying to be a lot more careful about what I acquire. But this is my favorite thing, so it gets to stay in this office with me all the time. I've got other ones set up in other places. And this is an example of something that is connected to modern stuff. So like that bad boy uses, you know, little tiny floppy disks like that.
Nice, sure.
And it turns out that I can get a USB floppy drive, plug it into my Mac, and I can copy files onto it and on in between that. And it also has a hard drive emulator in there that
Okay.
has it can use little SD cards to act like a hard drive instead of the big fat noisy ones from the old days that are all dying now.
Yeah.
And a tiny little SD card is many, many gigabytes, and you can fit like practically every bit of software ever made for these computers back then, because everything today is so much bigger and more bloated than it was back then. And I love these old computers because you can open them up, much like with the radio gear. You can open them up and look at them and fix them, see all the parts, replace the parts yourself because it's not the tiny little robot made
Yeah.
stuff from today. So I've had to replace parts in this one to keep it running and use it very carefully, because it's got the floppy drive in it has a very old rubber band, and like Greg had the problem with the tuner knob. Everyone's worried when these rubber things wear out or snap or whatever, and you're like, oh crap, where am I going to find a replacement? And luckily, I'm not dealing with equipment that's quite as old as some of the stuff I've seen you guys show so far.
I
So
still.
I can still find parts and things that I need, and sometimes I'll buy stuff just to stockpile it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Consumables like those belts, like those
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
If you
You
find
keep
them, you buy 10 of them if you can get 10 of them.
Yeah, you keep that stuff on hand because you never know if they'll show up again. Like this computer, I had a computer like this originally when I was in college, so that would have been around 1990 or so. And I sold it, of course, like everyone sold their stuff back then. And then a few years ago, I was missing having some of these computers, and I wanted one, and I couldn't find one. They were pretty rare in the United States. It didn't, Atari wasn't the biggest computer manufacturer.
Right.
And I kept searching, searching, couldn't find one. Or if I did find one, they were crazy expensive. And I was talking to some other guy that does an Atari podcast, and he said, hey, I had the same problem. I found one in Germany. And he said, check eBay in Germany. Sure enough, I did that. And this was before all the tariffs and stuff that made it harder to ship stuff to the US. And I found one in Germany, and because these have switching power supplies, this Germany runs on 240 volt, I believe. I didn't have to replace any of that. The power supply just switched. I just had to get new chips to get the US version of the operating system so I could read the screen and stuff.
Right.
But so, I opened it up, I replaced all the things, upgraded the RAM with the old RAM chips and things, and it just works. It's actually a German Atari ST. The keyboard's still in German, sadly, but I know how to type, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, so some of it's fun. I am sure you all have the same, like looking for something that you really want. Just the process of searching for it and trying to find what you're looking for is fun. And
Paul, I I found this within arm's length of me. I
oh
don't
my
know what
gosh, a
it's.
cassette drive. I have an Atari XL computer
Wow.
that would
Yeah,
work
this
with
is
there.
this
Yeah.
is a well, I call it a hard drive, but it's cassette drive.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's in this plastic thing, and
Yeah.
it's a company name here.
Lyco. I remember Lyco. Yeah.
Yeah, that apparently um, just I guess sold these back in the day. But anyway, just this was literally sitting on my shelf next to me.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I back in the day, I had Atari computers, and I played with them, and but anyway, I just thought I'd show you the this is state of the art back then.
That was the
Indeed.
first cassette drive I had with my first computer that I had. And I definitely don't miss those. I mean, they're so, so slow
Oh
and
my God.
unreliable.
Yeah.
It was torturous to use those. And the Atari computers, when you tried to load files, made this horrible screeching sound through the TV speaker while it was loading that most other computers didn't do.
What was the name of the first piece of software? It was like Excel. What was it called?
Oh, that was VisiCalc.
Yeah, VisiCalc. I remember that. Okay. Yeah, this was one. Someone I heard mention of that somewhere on some Zoom meeting the other day. VisiCalc.
I see Isaiah says he's got an original IBM
Yeah, I
5150.
see. Yeah.
Very nice with the original monitor.
Yeah, between
That's cool.
you've got some kindred spirits in the club. Like Adam's another one, right?
No,
Adam.
yeah, Adam. Yeah, he's got you meet Adam Vaughn. He's got quite a collection of, you name it. He really is into it. So we'll have to drag Adam into this because he has a lot of curious things. He has like, I know he's sold before like the Timex Sinclair, you
I
know.
had one of those, and it
I did
was
too.
that, and my was probably one of the worst computers I've ever used in my life. I bought one because it was cheap, set it up, played with it, and I hated it so much I just immediately flipped it on eBay because it was the keyboard
Um,
was like typing on rocks. It
my
was
It wasn't the best keyboard. I bought an accessory normal keyboard because I said that I had to make it more usable,
yeah.
and that it did make a nice difference. But that was my very, very first computer, and I had it for a bit and sold it to a friend, and I did have an Ohio Scientific. I wish I kind of had that. It was kind of cool. Ohio Scientific. Yeah, it's literally
I
out of
don't know
Ohio.
that.
Yeah, that was unusual. And it was actually pretty nice. Nice keyboard. It was a basic machine, plug your T or black and white, analog TV to the back of it. But it was actually a decent machine, 6502 chip.
have to have the RF modulator and the little cassette drive, and I had a TI 99/4A. That was the first thing
Yep.
I ever wrote a program on for actually designing bass reflex cabinets for loudspeakers on that.
Wow.
On
Yeah, I wrote about the TI last summer on my
oh,
newsletter. I don't actually own a TI. It's on the list of maybe one I would get. That one's a weird little computer though, and I did enjoy doing some research and writing about that one. And that's one thing that it kind of for me going hand in hand with collecting this stuff is writing about it. So I now have I think almost 4,000 subscribers on my newsletter that listen to me write something once a week about retro computer or gaming
cool.
typically. I don't think I've written about a radio yet, but that would slot maybe. Uh, I said
Well,
I don't know much about
Well,
that. So
you could make the leap into software defined radio.
there you go.
I saw you guys posting something stuff about that in the on the Google the group thing. I don't know much about what that is either, but yeah, so much fun
Well, I
stuff to dig into and learn about. So
Well,
Do, do you have a
I do have a
website?
TRS 80 sitting in the basement.
you do. There you go.
Trash 80.
Yeah.
The
I
old
And
am
trash
when
aid.
when I
I
bought
never
that
had one of
computer,
those. Yeah.
it was the first computer that the organization where I worked for, I was the first person to get a computer. So, and of course it had its tape recorder to record the programs on and all of that stuff. It was really quite tedious, but an interesting introduction to these things.
Yeah,
I
those
wrote
well,
a set of 26 programs for Trash 80 that converted the computer into things like a laboratory rat. It was the first simulation software that had ever been dreamed up. And it was so popular among colleges. College has to spend about 15,000 bucks per student station in a laboratory, and they could buy my software for the Trash 80 for $360 for a site license, any number of computers they wanted. And the computers could be bought for 1,000 bucks. So, instead of spending 15,000, they could have a complete laboratory set up for a fraction of that. And I got these programs into 93% of all the colleges in the United States. And it was just so much
Wow.
fun to see these real serious college classrooms, with these trash 80s on the table. Totally ridiculous.
emulating a lab
Oh,
rat. So yeah, nice.
I've never had one of those TRS-80s, but I am partial to stuff from Radio Shack. I worked there for a few years when I was in college, and I
Handy.
yeah, I was the world back then. They paid you mostly on commission, and I was the world's worst salesman. But I loved playing with all the gadgets and things,
Yeah.
and I knew where everything was in that store. So I could find or help people with anything. And I kind of miss that
hmm.
that's gone now because there's
Yeah.
no good
Ditto.
way to go to things like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
I think it's ironic because it probably would be pretty popular today with people wanting easier access to parts and nerdy electronics things and stuff. There
When
was
it,
this gap when that was kind of, out of being popular and not trendy anymore, and the company disappeared during that time. But
Yeah.
some heady times. I mean, being in Massachusetts and working for Hewlett Packard at the time, from on the test equipment side, not the computer side, but I we had customers buying test equipment from companies like DEC, obviously, Data General, Wang. There were like all these computer companies that were in Massachusetts. It was just
oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Don't
Yeah, and so
forget,
a
don't
lot of this
forget
hardware
that.
stuff's newer for me because I'm a software engineer, so I know all the software stuff, and I can write all the programs to run on these things, and that's I'll often write about making programs on this. And I did a stupid little program for Christmas this year on my Atari that drew a little Christmas tree with some snow falling, and it would pile up, and it was like 20 lines of basic code or something like that. But this is all fun, and yes, that's what I do, and. So
Hey,
yeah, I watched a few of your recordings on YouTube to see what was going on here. And it's like, oh yeah, I gotta pop in. Seems like a nerdy
Thank you.
bunch of guys that I probably would connect with. So
yeah, no, you're among friends and sympathizers, and yeah, I'm sure Joe Devonshire would say, hey, if you have any articles about vintage computers you want to throw into Raven, I'm sure he would welcome the article. So I'll put on my Joe Devonshire Raven editor hat for just a brief moment as his proxy, as his on-the-fly proxy. But
yeah, maybe I will. I write a lot. And I do like writing. Like I said, I write my retro thing, but I also I have two other newsletters. I write about electric vehicles and I write about music. And so I'm always writing something, and who knows, maybe for a newsletter. You guys' newsletter is only like quarterly or something, so
yeah, it's yeah,
that's
4 times. In fact,
that's
then
easy. I write a
yeah,
post every week at least,
so you
so
should be able to submit.
You can get free subscriptions and
Yeah. So you should be able to throw 100 articles Joe's way by tomorrow.
I've
Yeah.
written, I think, I just checked today because it's a new year and I've been compiling stats and stuff. I've written 330 articles on my website
That's pretty
in the
cool.
last 3 years. Yeah.
Well, great.
can
Well,
you can you put the website into the chat
I
for
think
us?
I did put it in the
yeah.
chat.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a
I
Yeah, it
haven't
should
looked
be
in
in
the
there.
chat, so
Does that include the electric vehicles and music?
Yeah, I don't write that every week.
Yeah,
That varies depending. That's more of just a casual hobby. So it's when I have something to say. Music is probably the one I write the least about, and then the EV one I write, man, 2 times a month-ish, and then the retro stuff I write weekly on a schedule, as I have so many subscribers, and I have people that pay for that too. So I kind of have to stick to a schedule with that one.
cool.
well, there is a reason that the club changed its name from NEARC, which was the New England Antique Radio Club, to NEVIC, which is the New England Vintage Electronics Club, because we wanted to broaden the horizons to get more
Absolutely.
involvement from more
Okay,
people.
I didn't know that it had a different name.
Yeah, yeah. That was and Bruce Phillips, one of our prior presidents, really pushed for that because it was we always our shows always had, more modern gear, wasn't, early solid state, tube amplifiers, people did bring computers, but we never really formalized it. And it's more, you know, part of the reason the calculus is also that, to try and draw more younger people into this because those segments are more popular with, the younger crowd than, maybe it may be hard to find someone who wants a tombstone, 20s radio or, 30s radio. They're there, but it's a harder to find. So we realized to sustain the club, we want to formally expand its horizons, even though we informally always recognized it. So that's
Oh,
why the name
interesting.
change.
Yeah.
So
Well,
computers,
I
kids,
think
computers.
that
So
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, because it depends too, kind of what you're used to and what you grew up with. I mean,
right.
radio was super big, probably like pre-1970s. And then in the 70s, computers started kicking in, and that kind of became really popular in the 80s and sucked a lot of people like me into it. And so, yeah, I mean, it's all electronic gadgets. So,
Yeah.
if you're interested in one, you probably got a lot of overlap in the other
Oh
one too.
yeah.
But
Yeah, no, we're not just about radios. We obviously spend a lot of time on radios, but no, all of these are always interesting to many of us. Just everyone's got their little niche
Gadgets.
thing. We got clocks, you name it. We cover a lot of different things in this club. I mean, if you go to the website and the About Us and you look at the list of things that's in our charter,
I
it's
did
big.
see a list of everything known to man on that.
Just about. I mean, we wanted to make sure, that we have you covered, so you don't feel if you like some weird niche thing, it's on the list. Come on in.
Well, I'm going to try really hard to make it out to that expo thing you guys
Mm,
do in the
yeah,
spring. Is
yeah, March 1st.
again, going back to getting rid of stuff that I don't want to keep around anymore. I've got probably a couple computers that I probably aren't getting the attention they need that I might want to try and see if someone else would want. I also collect a ton of retro magazines. Um, well, in computer magazines again, most
Yep.
because I definitely missed the days today where everything's online. I mean, I have an online newsletter, but I kind of fashion it around being similar to the magazines you would have in the 70s and 80s that I just love to get in the mail and sit and read. So I have a ton of actual printed magazines, but collecting those means I've acquired so many doubles over the years that again, spread the love and get other people to look at those things. So
Oh yeah, well maybe we can find Adam as one of your newfound buyers. But well, you'll Adam's almost as surely will be at the show. So if you happen to make it, we'll have to have you meet up.
yeah, well, I mean, it looks only an hour and a half from here, so I think it's doable.
Yeah, yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah. Yeah, from you said Portland. Yeah, that's workable. And hopefully the weather will be okay. We just go rain or shine or snow, I should say, and shine at that time of
As
year.
long as
So
it's indoors, it
it's
shouldn't.
indoors. You're good to go. It has 90 tables. So we have hopefully we'll sell all 90. And so it's quite a bit there. If you've seen the photos I posted for this event, you'll
I
see.
was looking at the photos from last year, and ironically, I was just going through them, and then on one of them, on a table, was a radio that it's a boombox from the 80s that I had when I was a teenager, and I've been looking for that for years. Can't
Yeah.
find it anywhere on eBay or anything. Every now I'll find one, it'll be like busted or doesn't work. And I'm like, well, I want one
Yeah.
that's kind of sitting on a clear picture of what I was looking for, just sitting on a table at this show last year. And I'm like, I should have been there. I would have
No.
totally snagged that, but oh
What
well.
what kind was it?
There's a Magnavox
Okay.
with detachable speakers that you could
Uh-huh.
clamp to the side and then carry it
Oh
around.
yeah. Well, you know what? You can always just shoot a flare into the sky over our email reflector and say, "Hey, I'm looking for the Magnavox," and if you're lucky, maybe they didn't sell it, and maybe someone will see the
That's a
email.
good point. Yeah, I'll have
You
to take
know,
advantage of the group and post something.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Asking for wanted is certainly welcome because, in fact, actually, it's encouraged, especially as we get closer to the show. People are looking for certain things, or looking to sell certain things. That if you post in advance, somebody who might have it in the basement, they may not have decided would normally not have brought it, to the
Hmm.
show. They might, haul it out there and find a new owner and there where you could increase your collection instead of decrease it, Paul.
Yeah. So that's always a risk. You go to a show like this to get rid of stuff and you come back with more than you left with. But
There is the hazard of the hobby. Yeah.
Especially, at the two smaller shows that have the free table.
Mm.
That's a
And we've
dangerous one
and
too.
we've had some pretty good free tables the past few shows in Brookline, that even and I've always kind of been very selective, came away with something with the free table because I just said, oh, I got to give this a home and go play with it. I may put it back on the free table, but let me just, play around, diagnose it, see what works, what doesn't, and I'll see what I want to do with it. It was more like oh, okay, I'll just take it home. It's sort of like the 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 table of misfit toys, bring
Exactly.
something home to give it some love.
Yeah.
So
Ron was able to, from where he was sitting, he was able to reach over and get his cassette drive thing. And I was just kind of sitting here as listening and looked over at the corner of the desk and it's like, I've got 3 cassettes. So it's like, this old stuff, it just doesn't go away. It's always hanging around somewhere. So,
Well, that's funny because I was just doing
There we
some.
go. There's Hugh with his cassettes.
I've got probably it's not at my it's upstairs. I've got probably about a dozen, and some of these I still have my original Panasonic F4 boombox I bought in 1984. Well, I was in college, and it was my first, stereo boombox, which is it has the cassette, still works, and I recorded off of that. There was a great radio station to listen to, had some great alternative music, and I remember recording some of that. So I actually had the tape I recorded in 1985, even have it dated, and it's still so it's kind of like a little walk down memory lane. So so I have maybe about 10 or 12 cassettes, but and at least one player that still works. So there's hope. But well, Paul, yeah, that was terrific. I'm glad
Yeah,
you
thank
joined
you.
because you know, I hope you are not a that you don't make yourself a stranger on our Zoom meetings, but you have some fun stuff that a number of us have fond memories of, seeing or even getting
Cool.
to a chance to use it.
Well, it's always fun chatting about stuff like this and hearing what other people got to say. So great.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Well, let's see here. The next victim here. So, hey, Joe in Michigan, 43 degrees. It's balmy. You should be in your shorts and t-shirt.
I know I should be. I was out in Maine over the weekend, flew back yesterday, went from like an inch of snow and whatever it was, 20, to like you couldn't see 100 foot in front of you when we landed in Detroit. So it was definitely not pleasant coming back here.
Yeah, I bet.
And it's still ugly. It's just warm and hazy, foggy, rainy, misty. But we're going to hit 50s.
Hey,
Yeah.
all that snow may melt, right?
Yeah, I got a couple little piles in the yard.
Yeah.
That's about it. Yeah. Well, the west side of the state, I think they're finally out of it. Over by here, we got, what was it, Christmas, I think? Might have been Christmas. We got a couple inches in, just enough to shovel, to be annoying. But yeah, so that's the weather in Michigan. As far as electronic world, I'm in my basement. Michigan has their swap meet in 3 weeks. So I'm looking to
Okay.
see what in the world do I have sitting around here that you guys are probably going to see in March. So it's like I got too much junk. I realize I got probably 300 capacitors that are new.
All right.
Yeah, some tube guy I know, he buys tubes off me now and then. He cleared out a Western Electric hoard. So he's like, yeah, you want all these capacitors and stuff? I'll just send them to you. So now and I'm sending about 200 of them. And Lord only knows what else is in there. New attenuators, new knobs, tons of junk. That's how I put it.
Oh,
So
that's all right. Well, are you going to find a way to come out here in March for our expo?
yeah, I'm planning on driving.
Wow.
Yeah, I was actually going to drive. Girlfriend lives out there, so I was
Right.
originally going to leave on the 30th of December, drive out there, drive back, see what junk there was along the way. But scheduling and everything with my boy's mom and everything, it forced me to end up flying on the 2nd and coming back yesterday. So
Well,
didn't get to
if
pick
you're
them
going
any
to
chicken.
drive here, that gives me no excuse not to go with my
No
boy.
excuse. You do it. 12
Yeah,
and a half
that's
hours
right,
through
Paul.
Canada.
No pressure, Paul.
12-hour
Yeah.
drive versus.
That's
Yeah.
that is
You're in South
dedication.
Portland,
Remember that,
aren't you?
guys. You
Yeah,
heard
I
it.
go to Wells. So yeah, you're just up the road.
Yeah, Wells is like, I don't know, 40 minutes away, maybe.
Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, I've done the drive 4 times out there in the past year and a half. It's not too bad. I actually went out there over the summer, the 4th of July weekend, came back, picked up a homemade pair of Clips K horns.
Nice.
I have an Acadia. Well, I didn't see one of my kids for 2 days in the back of the car because
Yep.
he was next to it behind the other kid, but got him home.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Paul can probably use a vintage Garmin or something to like find his way to the show.
Oh, Tom Tom. Or
Oh,
what was
Tom
the other?
Tom.
There you
I
go.
remember
Go
it. I was in college back in '08. We
Tom
went up
Tom.
to the Upper Peninsula in this This kid, he had something. His dad was into new technology at the time. This is so I think what was it, Magellan? We had
Oh
the
yeah.
Magellan. That thing was one step newer than a picture tube. Man, that thing was tiny, and you had to listen to it to see where you were going.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Or
Yeah.
or he could print out the directions for MapQuest or something, and then just
Oh,
have
I
it
remember
delivered.
doing that. Back when I used to buy stuff on eBay back in the early 2000s, and you'd put in an address, and it was like, "Do you want the picture?" It's like, "Do I really want to waste that amount of color ink on that postage stamp?"
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like, "Dang, I wish I would have done that." Yeah, man, remember the? I guess you'd say the good old days stuff was normal, but
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, hopefully we'll see you in March there, Joe. But if you
oh,
when
I'm
you go
planning
the
on it.
if you go to the show in 3 weeks, well, let's see here. Maybe in our February, one of our first February meetings, we'll have to get a report from you. Maybe
Yeah,
some,
yeah. Because this is
especially wait,
actually, yeah,
talk.
this is their better swap meet of the year. This is the winter one where it's Detroit where everybody's based out of. So you get to see all the junk. Opposed to the one during the was it summer, fall? Fall, I think. They have two or three per year. One mixed with a ham one, which is kind of lame because they're up with a ham group, and it's like, okay, you get the maybe half the Detroit based people, but you get a little bit of the Chicago crowd, which is actually where I picked up there's some weird stuff that comes out of Chicago, which is unique. So it's fun.
Cool,
So
cool. Well, thank you, Joe.
oh
Well,
yeah.
glad you checked in. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Let's see. So, Dr. Pereira, how are you doing?
Doing okay. It's mighty cold up here in Vermont. I'll tell you, we're looking at a January thaw, which means it comes up from maybe 20 below zero to zero. We're all cheering it on, but yeah, it actually is a bit warmer. I think it made it up into the 30s today. Not a lot of fun, but oh, as long as you have heat and a spare generator that'll run when you need it, it's not too bad. I'm having a really rough time trying to develop communication system for this deaf blind guy that I'm working with. I think I've mentioned it here before. There's a friend of mine who is in his 70s and he is totally deaf and he is going blind so that it is liable to cut him off from communication totally with the rest of the world. And I am trying, first of all, I taught him the Morse code, and he understands and can decode Morse code. So at least you can tap Morse code on his hand and he can decode it and get messages from you. And he can send Morse code just by tapping on something. So I'm trying to build some hardware to make that easier for him. One of the things that I haven't installed this all yet for him yet, but I've got one of these so-called wave keyboards, and
Oh yeah.
you can
Mhm.
see that the letters on the keys on the keyboard are sort of not all on the
Yeah.
same plane. So I
Yeah.
figure he's going to have an easier time figuring out what letters to press. He remembers a little something about touch typing, so I'm helping that, hoping that'll help. And I've got some stick-on key taps that are just like tape that you put on top of the keys, and those taps are Braille symbols. And he doesn't know Braille, but I figure it's going to make it easier for him, at least to tell the difference between one key and the other as he learns to use that keyboard. Right now, I'm trying really, really hard to find some way of taking the output of that keyboard and turning it into Morse code. Used to be a
Just a
bunch of
couple
ham
lines of
radio.
code from Paul to do that.
Yeah. Get cracking there, Paul.
The
Oh,
I'll have to
the
think about that. doesn't sound like it would be the end of the world to
Yeah, you,
Actually,
push it.
check
There
what
used to
Isaiah
be
just.
there used to be a lot of ham radio gadgets that had a keyboard and would output Morse code, and you could hook them up to your rig, but they are either very difficult to find or whatever. And the ideal thing would be for me to be able to interface this keyboard with that device and get outputs. Now, once you've got an output, it's Morse code, but it's tones. Dot dash is boop, boop. And he's not going to be able to hear those tones. So I spent the last week in my junk box, which is known as my basement, hauling old junk stuff out. And I put together this little device here, which is a Morse code decoder that takes a signal in on this end and amplifies it with these four transistors and takes the output of the transistor and drives a relay. Now, what that does is then it takes the dots and dashes in tone and amplifies them and makes that relay follow dots and dashes by pulling in short or long times. And then I hook the device up to, yep, an old time doorbell buzzer.
buzzer. Yep.
And you've probably seen one of these, and it actually makes the buzzer work. So maybe I can demonstrate it.
Yeah,
This is
that's
a
cool, Tom.
really, really high-tech device here. I'm going to put it on my computer. Maybe it'll vibrate the computer, and I'm going to push where are we here? Push the little button I put on top there, which is the key. And let's see if I can get it to. Can you hear anything at all?
I thought I heard just a very quiet
Let me try
beep.
this.
That took Tom off the air.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he took himself off the air.
Okay. Let's see if I can get back on the air. Can you hear me now?
Some of
Yeah.
the background noise reduction stuff in Zoom can turn that, block things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Zoom thinks that's just noise and then tries to
Right.
knock it out.
Right.
Is my voice audible at this point?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
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 Okay. Anyway, so that device is working, and all I need is to feed Morse code signals into it, and he can feel the buzzes. He can't hear the Morse, but he can feel the buzzes. So I believe that I am going to be able to use this device with him. Let's see if I can get my video back again. Uh, and what happened to my video? There we go. Okay, so I got video. I think I'm going to be able to use this device, but I really would like to find a program that would let me play Morse code into this thing. Right now, I've got a couple of things that work on an iPad, an iPhone. He's an Apple guy, and so he only has Apple stuff, which makes it difficult because there isn't a lot of software for this kind of thing that runs on an Apple. But I've got a couple of programs in his iPad, and you can type letters into the iPad, and the iPad will store those letters, and then when you push the right thing, it will output those letters as Morse code. That's the best I've been able to do so far. So you can type messages to him, and you push a play button, and it plays Morse code into my adapter here, and then it vibrates in his hand. So that's where I am at the moment, but I'm hoping to find a program that will let people type on this keyboard, feed it into a computer. The computer will generate the tones, feed it into my box, and then he'll be able to feel the vibrations. It's an interesting challenge.
Wow. That's
In the
a
process of doing all this, I've discovered some pretty amazing things that I don't know much about, but let me show you one of these. This is a
here, let me,
microphone module. And as you can see, it has a little condenser mic on it.
yep.
It has the gain control that you can see there takes 5 volts and it gives you a 5 volt or ground output. These things cost $3 a piece. If you buy four of them, or I think I bought four of them for $9 or something like that. I spent countless hours in my basement hunting around for old microphones and amplifiers. I found this thing that I modified over there. Now you can buy these things in quantity for almost nothing. So I'm pretty excited about that. Eventually, I imagine I'm going to try making this thing work. I don't really understand it. I certainly know the circuit and what it's doing, but I don't understand how it's supposed to be mounted. The three leads that you see there are +5 ground and the output. So it's a very simple microphone amp. And in the same sort of process of hunting around for stuff that might work, I found this interesting module. And it also has, this one has a microphone on it. It also has let's see if I can see where it is, a photo cell, which is down there. And it has pots on all of these things so you can adjust sensitivity. And it has a relay, which is this thing here, with common, normally open, and normally closed contacts. And it's really nicely built. Look at the heavy trace soldering that they put on
Yeah.
the relay lead. So that thing could probably switch 10 amps in itself, just getting through that. Not going to burn up the trace or anything. And again, this thing was something like $4. That would be the equivalent of a week of hunting in my basement and cursing and using oscilloscopes to try and match voltages and do all that kind of stuff. Absolutely an unbelievable revolutionary change. And here's another one. I just, you can tell I got carried away with it. Here's another relay module. And on this one, you have 5 volts and ground coming in and a signal. And the module has a little amplifier over here that amplifies the signal and then drives that little relay. And the relay is very simple, single pole, double throw relay. And then the outputs are a bunch of screw contacts on the end here.
Hmm.
And again, this thing is something like $3 or somewhere in that neighborhood. And it just made me feel so stupid for having spent such a long time hunting for old parts and testing them. And I had a resistance substitution box so I could try different resistors till I got something to work. And so the world is really changing. Has anybody messed around with these modules? I think they're supposed to work with an Arduino system, and I don't know much about it. I'll read up on it, but it's unbelievable what you can buy for almost nothing. If you went to a part store, even you'd pay more than that for just the relay alone, not to mention the module in the background. So that's pretty much occupied me for the last couple of weeks trying to get this thing going. And any suggestions that anybody has would be very much appreciated.
Hey, Tom, just check the chat window because I know that Isaiah has been sharing some thoughts like the FL Digi that he threw in there. So you might want to check out what he's throwing in the chat window there.
Yeah, the FL Digi is something that I think might be helpful. Let's see what we've got. Um, uh, get down there.
He points at some software there. But you
Okay.
need the voice recognition on a cell phone to turn that into Morse code on the cell phone's vibrator.
Oh, how cool is
Yeah.
that?
That's
Where's that, Hugh? Holy
I,
man.
that's some high school student
It's
writing
in
an
the App
Android app.
Store.
Is
That's
Yeah,
that
pretty, that's actually
Download
pretty
the app
cool.
from the App Store.
that's what I thought of.
That's pretty clever. I like it.
Uh,
is that
but
the
I don't have the software chops to even think about doing something like that.
where do I find this? It's on the chat?
Yeah, in the chat window. Yeah,
Oh,
just go to the in the at the bottom panel of your Zoom window. You'll see the chat.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
It-
That's amazing. I'll look up those references. You might just save me a lot of time in the basement.
No.
But
yeah,
the other thing is, I think these little modules are worth looking into. They certainly would simplify things if you had to control something or you wanted to pick up sound or something. They're so cheap. It's just amazing.
right now it's remarkable.
It's the stuff that turned all the kids into systems engineers. They don't have to know the details of the electronics design. You
Just
know,
black boxes. They just plug them all in, plug and play.
plug them in and go.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, great. Thank you, Tom. That was actually very impressive what you're trying to build. You
Well, it
know.
just terrifies me to think of being totally cut off from the world like that. Nobody able to communicate with you.
Yeah.
His hands are too big, and his fingers don't have the sensitivity to allow him to do Braille. So he's really in a very rough situation.
Yeah. That's going to appreciate Morse code as being an effective way because the sensory part is
Yeah.
there in the hand. Really clever. I'm very
Thank you
impressed.
for the input. I'll look into those things.
Absolutely. Well, Hugh, since
Oh,
how you doing? Since you've already came out with your new idea already.
yeah, right. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm the idea guy, right? Don't ask me to do any work. A couple of comments I had about some things. Somebody was talking about college stereos. I made some K-horn clipshes in college, and they're still in the basement. So they haven't found somebody's new barn to move to yet. But and then the concept of not buying things just because they're cool, but that you might actually use them. When you can't get from one side of the basement to the other, that's nature's way of telling you something's wrong.
Good reference. Very good reference.
There you go. One quick share, I'll show you what I made during December. I do this every year. 9 trays of baklava.
Ooh.
Those are 3 of them.
Oh,
So
wow.
speaking of sweets and all that,
Yeah.
there you go.
That looks very good.
Yeah, and I send them all around the world. What I'm working on now is this picture, the front of my Mercedes engine all apart.
Uh-oh.
The cooling system and the oil temperature control and whatnot. It is unbelievably, it's like a giant game of Tetris under there.
I
This
bet.
is without all the turbo cooling pipes.
No,
All of those are already out.
looks more like Jenga than Tetris, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy. It
Bless
is
those Germans.
right. I don't know how they put this together. The guy who put the engine together, their little signature plaque with his name on the top of it. It must have taken weeks. It's crazy.
Is this
But anyway,
is this your Mercedes SUV?
yeah, yeah. It's
Maybe you can find them on the internet.
right. There you go. 111,000 miles, and it's just a mess under there. But anyway, it's so much fun to drive. Who could argue? Let's stop share. Let's see, a couple of things. The subscription to Nevic reminds me, I don't remember if I resubscribed, so let that be a note to us. For
Yes. That's a good point. If you haven't renewed, do
yeah, I think I might have, but it's the kind of thing I might forget. Um, Ken Silvestri posted a question about calibrating a tube tester. And I had asked him, this is on the email thing, and I had asked him to post the calibration procedure for Hickok 533A. And it's an interesting procedure. You look at the schematic for the tube tester, and it's a whole lot of switches and wires, right, going to all the sockets and selecting filament voltage and stuff. But there are a handful of things that can be calibrated in there. Um, it seems a little, ancient in some ways. I mean, one of the first things is talking about the meter shunt, and making some adjustment to some bendable metal or something in there to get the meter calibrated. Something I've never done. I think Steve Byen might know something about that. And then there's other places where it's got you unwinding resistor wire on a, resistor coil of some sort. So it's a interesting little process calibrating one of those tube testers. The last thing actually is supposed to have a calibrated 6L6 that you know the transconductance for, and use that to check the meter out to see if it's actually displaying correctly. Um, I guess on one hand, you could find a tube tester that you know the calibration of and measure the tube and use that. On the other, I thought you might be able to measure the grid excitation and the corresponding plate current and divide it out for yourself. So um, that's just a few tidbits about that. I haven't really responded to Ken yet, but I was just reading through that. Thought it was interesting.
Hmm.
What was one last thing I had? It escapes me. Anyway, there you go.
All
Uh,
right.
that's the deal. Looking forward to March 1st.
Well, it looks like you've had your hands full, literally, Hugh, whether it's in the engine or in the or in your
Right.
pastries.
Right. Well, there's that. The pastries are over with. I have spent a little time on the bench, but opening up an old HP handheld DVM only to find battery damage on the circuit board. So, not sure whether that's worth tackling or just send it to the electronics recycling.
Hmm.
So,
The
there's that deal. I think that's all I got. Oh, I had a comment. Somebody was talking about ripping music. I've used Audacity, which is free software, to, kind of take the pops and clicks out of records. And uh, it's amazing just, zeroing them out, how good that sounds. You really can't tell the difference, but you just kind of does a graphical interface. And it's pretty easy to use to, you know, just you look at the waveform of the record, you listen, when you hear a pop, you back up a little bit and you kind of draw a line across it, and away goes the pop. So,
oh,
unless it's a real serious, thing that lasts some time, like somebody put a big gouge in the record, it's actually pretty good to make, pretty easy to make quite an improvement in a recording or rip of a record. So,
interesting. Very
yeah,
interesting. Not aware of that until
there
now.
you go. It's called Audacity. It's
Audacity.
free. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
well, thank you, Hugh. Good
yeah, yeah.
stuff.
If I think of my last thing, I'll pop in, but
Oh
carry
yeah,
on.
go ahead. Let's see here. I know Isaiah is doing everything over chat, so I would at least want to call on him at least to recognize him, and certainly appreciate always his contributions on the chat window. But um, well, I guess I'm last, I guess. So I don't have a lot to talk about, but I've one thing I can share is I should have taken photos. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I was just too excited to see it. Good friend of mine has a KLH Model 8, and it's in just terrific, terrific condition. It looks like other than a few very minor little nicks in the, like maybe scratch in the cabinet, it's in really fine shape, and it just inside and out, just clean, even the original manual. And he pulled it out, and I got to play with it. And I have to tell you, what a terrific. I mean, I've never really got a chance to hear one. I've seen them. I know their reputation precedes it. Get to play with it. I was just very impressed. Like even just the tuning, nice, nice. Adjusting so that you can really tune in a station very easily because it's nice and fine. Um,
Vernier
very,
is the word we're
very,
looking.
that's the word I was, yeah, I had vernier in my mind. I meant to say it earlier. Yes, has a nice vernier style tuning, wonderfully done. And for I tell you, for a single speaker, it still holds its own. More than pretty impressive for 1960 to 64, somewhere in that time frame. Um, Very nice system. It makes me think, I not mind owning one. Because I really was pretty impressed by the quality and the sound is just a beautiful little piece of technology for its day. So if any of you have ever had the pleasure, or never have, and can get your hands on one to play with, I do encourage it. It was really very impressive, state of the art, really, for its day, really. Um, maybe I'll have to go and find one of these days for myself to go play with. But otherwise, it was kind of more low key. I was just kind of tired. I was also ill for a good part of the Christmas holiday. I had this cold I couldn't shake, so it really kind of threw things into a little bit of you know, it's fine. I got things done. It was just kind of one of those unfortunate things. But everybody's sick these days with all the stuff that's being passed around. So fortunately, I'll consider myself lucky. It was just a head cold, but I couldn't shake the bloody thing. So, but yeah. So that was my sort of fun playing with vintage electronics I can think of offhand. But I didn't really do any projects I can think of because I've just been so busy with so many other things and I did, of course, work on the website a bit so to get ourselves ready for 2026. So, um,
Yeah.
sorry, Rob, you say something?
John, you're talking about records and, ripping them and all that. I don't know if you've seen this stuff before. I don't know if it does it
But let
focus.
me see if I can
Yeah, it
spotlight it.
doesn't focus.
There you
Hold it
go.
back a little. It's not focusing.
So anyways,
La
it's called Laser Media
Laser Media. Okay,
VNC-8. I think it's made in Pennsylvania somewhere. Nope. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Anyways, I've used this stuff on my old records, and I'm telling you, albums that I've had since the 70s started really sounding better. This junk works very well. It's a cleaner and lubricant, surfactant of some kind. But if you want to play old records, you might want to check this stuff out because
interesting.
it's great. It says not to get it on the label, so I found one of those kitchen things you use for opening jars, the little rubber things.
Yep.
Found one the size of a label. And I just glued a knob onto it. I just set that on the record, spray this stuff around. You use a clean microcloth, and I'm telling you, some of my albums, I bought them in the 70s.
Yeah.
What's the name of the product again?
It's called Laser Media.
Laser Media.
Yeah, VNC-8.
Laser Media VNC-8. Very
Professional vinyl record cleaning fluid, and it works great. I
how,
can't say enough for it.
how much is it for a bottle, roughly?
Oh, I haven't bought. I've had this one about 2 years. It's pricey. I think it's. I can't say anymore. I'm thinking $20, but I don't think it's that high. But it is pricey for a record cleaner, but it works great.
Interesting. Laser Media VNC-8.
Yep.
Good to know, because I mean that's useful for anybody who's into vinyl. In fact, better than mine, even like for my niece who has a record player, and she's like, in fact, I buy records from Kenny, Kenny Cool, one of our regular vendors, and I think all of his records are always pretty good. But
Just
sometimes,
occurred to me, maybe they're not, maybe they're not in business anymore. Oh no,
oh, is that right?
I don't know. It's
Oh, what,
occurred to me. I didn't
Isaiah,
know the guy.
Isaiah's come
Oh,
through.
oh, okay.
Look
Yeah,
at
the
that.
NCA.
1796. There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. Thank you,
sure.
Isaiah.
Isaiah, yeah.
Yeah, for finding it for us. Of course, thank you, Rob, for flagging it for us because, we're always need to know these things.
Well, they tell you to spray it on and leave it for about 20 seconds. And I think
Okay.
it lifts a lot of the dirt out of the groove because like I have some old Zappa albums that are from the 70s and they were getting a little bit noisy and all that and just cleaned them right up. Won't fix scratches, but it will take care of a lot of dirt.
Right. Well, that helps just to enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
That's great.
Couple little ticks and pops are kind of nice to have. Just kind of remind you the way it was.
Oh yeah, no, that's certainly understandable. You know, I actually, sadly, I need to get myself a because I don't have many vinyl, but I do have some, and I don't have a working record player right now, so I'll have to remediate that at some point. But well, well, great guys. This was a terrific meeting. A lot of interesting stuff that went on the past few weeks, and between people, Santa dropping some cool stuff off, or people with good projects, or whatnot. And of course, welcome Paul for giving us some good vintage computer
Yeah.
discussions. All good stuff. And of course, thanks for the pair coming joining all the way from Thailand. This is this.
Oh, I should mention that there's one other thing that I've been doing that somebody gave me an app to load on my phone, which listens to birds and shows pictures of the birds. And at this
Ah,
location where I happen to be staying today, the one morning I had this thing connected at 6 in the morning for half an hour, and it loaded 20 birds,
Is
two
wow.
of
that
them owls, 18 birds.
is
I
that
mean,
Merlin?
this
The Merlin
particular place,
is that the Merlin
pardon?
app? Is that the Merlin app from Cornell?
Uh, it's called, um, hmm, what's the name of it?
Not
Uh,
Merlin?
no,
Okay.
no, it's, um,
It's okay.
it, it's about birds. That's the name
Okay.
of the app, About
Huh.
Birds.
Now, have you tried
And
to do a fake call to see if it would throw up a picture? Oh, wait, pops a picture of pear. Ha.
well, well, one of the calls that of those 20, and I've gotten this same call at two different locations, is for a bird that the information given in the app said became extinct around 1900. But
Very
then
Okay.
somebody said that Thor Heyerdahl had spotted one in 1937. So who knows? Uh, but I'm just wondering if if this recognized the call, who recorded the call? Did they have an Edison? Anyway, that's the other little thing that I've been doing here
Well, it's very
that I like.
interesting because there are some. I'll have to actually tell my wife about that because she does enjoy birds, and sometimes wondering what the call is for the birds. Sometimes we know. So maybe does that cover like
Well,
North American birds and things like that? Parrots, all birds, all countries, and
I think so. Yeah. Now, when I first was given the name of the app, I tried to load it on my iPhone, but my iPhone is very old and it wouldn't load. So finally, I just bought another iPhone in order to put a SIM card into it when I got here to Thailand to be able to phone local phone numbers. And it being a modern iPhone, it's called an uh, uh, SE20 2020.
oh, sure,
And
yes, yep, sure, the iPhone SE, yep.
and some people think SE means senior edition. Some people thinks it means simple edition. But in any case, it loaded the app right away and it's been working fine.
Yeah, I had one. That was my last phone. I thought it was actually did the job pretty darn well.
Mhm.
So can't complain. So um cool. Hey, thanks for sharing that little tidbit. I will so it's called About Birds. I will
About birds.
I will
Yes.
share that with my wife in case she has an interest. So you just basically allow it to play the app and it runs off your microphone and tries and throws up the birds that it hears. I take it.
And the person who gave me the app, who told me about the app, said, it says, click here for a free 7-day trial. She said, don't click on the app, don't click on that, click on that, just keep using it and it will keep working. So I'm not quite sure if that's the case or not because it's only about a week now since I started. But she said it was, that's what I should do. So we'll see.
Merlin is a very popular app around here from Cornell. Uh,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh,
and
Merlin.
so I had found a book on old magnetic tape recording, and inside the front cover is a picture of Professor Kellogg recording with his big ear in 1957 with his 35 pounds of recording equipment. Um, so I sent the
Wow.
picture to the Cornell Ornithology Lab, and they said, "Oh yes, Dr. Kellogg. He was a grad student here, and their history of recording bird sounds goes back quite a ways." But
Ah,
their app is pretty cool. You can just hold it up whenever you hear a bird, and it's pretty good at identification.
okay, thank you.
And
I will have to add that to
yeah, I'm
this.
not sure how well it works overseas. I tried it when I was in Africa, and it talked about needing 1,000 recordings of a given bird in order to train the app. So, and I
Oh,
believe
uh-huh,
as a result of that training, it's very difficult to fake out. So, there we go.
uh-huh.
Anyway, do you eat a lot of
Oh,
Thai
thank
food
you.
when you're there? How hot do you like your Thai food?
Well, I worked in Thailand 45 years ago for 2 years, and so I got very accustomed to all the variations of spiciness of Thai foods.
Excellent.
And usually I sit kind of in the middle on them,
Right.
actually.
Yeah. I had octopus satay from a street vendor in Bangkok once. That was a mistake.
Next time, just order the chicken.
Really.
Oh, thank you
Oh
for
man.
that.
All right. Well, guys, that was a terrific meeting. Thanks very much. We're ending just a few minutes early, so you'll get a few minutes of your life back. And but so looking forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks. And I'm thinking maybe what I'll do is I'll check in if it's okay. I think maybe what I'll do is I've got photos from Bruce Phillips who will be um uh, who will have a bunch of his private collection available for members for the expo. So, and I've already, created a folder for him, and he uploaded the photos. So I think we could give a sneak preview so that, gets you warmed up. So maybe you want to see something that's exciting, you can reach out to Bruce and say, I want that. So, at any rate, I think that's what I'm thinking for that meeting, unless something else takes its place. But anyway, I wish you guys a warmer and good start to the year, and see you in probably a couple of weeks. I will, by the way, I have not forgotten about the off-topic Zoom. I just with the holidays. I kind of got a bit jammed up, and I'm traveling next week, so maybe hard for me to do the Wednesday. I have to do an officers meeting as well, for the club. So I might try shifting it towards the end of the month. I'll try and squeeze one in for January. So we'll try and get that restarted, again. So I haven't forgotten about that. Um, anyway, guys, you take care. Have a
So,
great evening.
so what should I write on my calendar
Oh, oh,
tentatively?
oh, I'll throw okay, let me look at my let me quickly look because I can give you a rough estimate pair. I'm thinking maybe the 28th of January. So that would be 3 weeks from now, because next week, of course, is an off week for our normal Zoom, but I've got a officer Zoom. We have to start getting ourselves ready for Wyndham, the expo. And then the next week, the week of the 19th, of course, we'll have a Zoom meeting, our usual club Zoom meeting, which is, and then the off topic, I'm kind of leaning towards maybe doing on the 28th. So,
Mhm.
so that would be, I will send an email, of course, but that would be
Of
my
course, yeah,
guess at
right.
this point. So if you're, so stay tuned on that, and
Okay,
um, you'll get more information once I know it. But
wonderful.
great. All
All
right,
right.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have
bye.
a great night. Take care of
Thank you,
yourselves.
John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Fun
Great.
meeting.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.